Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Yep, we want to continue. We're up to text number 11 in this 9th chapter of the 6th canto. We're hearing how Vishwarupa had been killed by Indra, and when the father of Vishwarupa, Twasta, got the news, then he was very angry, and he decides to perform a ritual to arrange for the killing of Indra. Like what we say, tit for tat. You do it to me, I'll do it to you. You killed my son, I'm going to kill you. So Twasta is doing some sacrifice, and he was chanting mantra. He wants to create a personality from the fire who would kill Indra. But we're told that somehow Twasta got the mantra wrong. He chanted the mantra, instead of short, he chanted it long. You know, we know different letters. Some letters are meant to be chanted long, and some letters are short. So he got the pronunciation wrong, and so the mantra came out wrong. And instead of getting someone who was going to we're told it changed from the enemy, Indra, it became Indra who is an enemy. Instead of the enemy of Indra, it became Indra who is an enemy. So consequently, instead of an enemy of Indra's, there emerged the body of Vritasura, of whom Indra was the enemy. So, anyway, if you can work that one out. The point is, anyway, he didn't get somebody who was going to kill Indra, but someone who was an enemy of Indra. So anyway, text 12 describes how this personality came out from the fire. And he was very fearful. A fearful personality, looked like the destroyer of the entire creation at the end of the millennium. And there's several verses describing his features. And you've all seen the pictures, the illustrations, artist illustrations, how he's huge, and the hair on the demon's body and his beard were the color of copper. His eyes were piercing like the sun, and he's holding a trident in his hand, and he's dancing and shouting in a loud voice, and the earth is trembling like an earthquake. And even when he yawns, it's like he was going to swallow the whole sky with his mouth, which was as deep as a cave. So this demon was actually the son of Twasta. He's like a brother of Vishwarupa. Vishwarupa had been killed by Indra, so Twasta had created this very fearful demon. And he was of a gigantic stature. He covered all the planetary systems by dint of austerity. So he was called Vrita, which means one who covers everything. So we often see this name in the Vedas. It's often mentioned about Vritasura. So when he appeared, the demigods, under the leadership of Indra, they tried to charge against the demon. They came charging him and striking him with their weapons and their arrows and all their different weapons, clubs and spears, whatever they used. They tried to use them, but it didn't matter what they did. The demon was so powerful, he just swallowed them. He just swallowed all their weapons. He took them for a snack. So the demons were, the demigods were completely shocked. What to do? This demon is so powerful. So seeing the strength of this demon, the demigods were weakened. Anyway, they got together. Text 20 says, they all met together to try to please the super soul, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayan, by worshipping him. And then we begin the prayers which they offer to the Lord. Of course, they want the Lord to help them in their situation. They have the problem, this demon is opposing them. And they want to keep their position. They're demigods, they're attached to their position. So now they're seeking the help of the Lord to overcome that. One question comes up, why do the demigods decide to take shelter of the Lord? What's the reason? Why would the demigods do that? Why would they take shelter of the Lord? Yes, Prabhu?
Whenever there is danger, the demigods take shelter of the Lord.
Why?
Because they are the devotees of the Lord.
What's that got to? But what's the Lord able to do for them? You know, they take shelter of the Lord, but is the Lord able to overcome their danger?
Yes.
Why? How does he do it?
The demons, they don't take shelter of the Lord, but the demigods, they take shelter of the Lord. That's why the Lord favors them.
Well, the demons don't take shelter of the Lord, and they sometimes they're victorious.
Yeah, that is due to mode of nature, mode of passion, mode of ignorance.
So the modes of nature must be the supreme.
No, that is the arrangement of the Lord.
Huh?
That is the arrangement of the Lord.
Yeah, if you read the purport of text 21, it describes why they take shelter of the Lord. That they explained that the Lord is without fear. Fear personified is afraid of the Supreme Lord. Fear personified is afraid of the Lord. So taking shelter of the Lord brings about fearlessness. And therefore the demigods decided to take shelter of the Lord. They know by taking shelter of the Lord, we have the Lord there. The Lord can overcome any danger, any obstacle which we're confronted by. We have faith in the Lord that He will help us to overcome this obstacle. So the demigods just take shelter of the Lord. So that is the answer. Trying to take shelter of anybody else, it's like the example is given in the next verse, text 22. It said, if you go to anybody else to help us in danger, it's like holding the tail of a dog and trying to cross the ocean. Now, a dog can also swim. You can see people, sometimes you see people swimming with their dogs. They hold the tail of the dog will pull them. But the dog cannot swim across the ocean. In the same way, if you take shelter of someone other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then you're wasting your time. They're not going to be able to help you to overcome the obstacles. We have to take shelter of the Lord. He's the only one who can overcome the greatest fear. Fear personified is defeated by the Lord. All right? And then the demigods continue to offer prayers to the Lord. If you look at text 25, the personality of Godhead was who created us by the external potency, and by whose mercy we expand the creation of the universe, is always situated before us as the super soul. But we cannot see his form. We are unable to see him because all of us think that we are separate and independent gods. Right? This is an important point. Why we cannot see God? Why we cannot see the Lord? Because we are so infatuated by our own self. We are thinking, I myself am God. I'm an independent God. I'm separate. Right? That, of course, that's the demonic nature. Bhagavad Gita, Ishwaraham. We're thinking, I am the controller. Ishwaraham aham bhogi siddhaham balavam sukhi. The demon, the demonic mentality. We have that problem. We're thinking we are the God. We're great. Prabhupada writes in the purport, however insignificant we are, we think that we are also God, that we can create a universe, or that we can create another God. That is why we cannot see or understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, it's an important point to note. So there's a lot of long purports, and the demigods are offering their prayers to Lord Narayan, to the Super Soul. Here in the next text, this is text 26 and 27, talking about Prakriti and Purush. Prakriti, the material nature, and Purusha, enjoyer. So, in the purport it writes, in the commentary, the Bhavarta Dipika replies to the idea that Prakriti and Purush are the causes of the cosmic manifestation. Right? Materialistic people, and Mayavadis also, they will say everything comes about because of material nature, from the Prakriti and the Purusha. This is what materialistic people think. Everything comes, life comes from matter. Prakriti. So this is answered here. The Prakriti and Purush. How do you defeat that kind of argument? What is the actual cause of the material creation? So in the purport, Prabhupada writes, although Prakriti and Purush superficially appear to be the causes of the material manifestation, both are emanations of different energies of the Supreme Lord. The Prakriti is the energy of the Lord, and the Purusha, the living entities, they're also the energy of the Lord. So nothing is independent of the Lord. And then at the end of the purport, to generate the universe, the Lord acts indirectly. The Lord acts indirectly as the Purusha and directly as the Prakriti, because both energies emanate from Him. Lord Vasudeva, the all-pervasive Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is known as both Prakriti and Purusha. Therefore, Vasudeva is the cause of everything. Sarva Karanam Karam. Sarva Karana Karanam. Right? Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. The cause of all causes. Lord Brahma says, Lord Krishna is the cause of all causes. So, in this way we respond to this argument that everything is coming from Prakriti, Purusha. So then Sukadeva Goswami describes, so the demigods were offering their prayers to the Lord. At that time, Lord Hari, carrying his weapons, the conch shell, disc and club, appears first within their hearts and then before them. So the Lord actually appears before them. And then text 30 says, surrounding and serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayan were 16 personal attendants, decorated with ornaments and appearing exactly like him, but without the mark of Srivatsa and the Kastuba jewel. O King, when all the demigods saw the Supreme Lord in that posture, smiling with eyes like the petals of lotuses grown in autumn, they were overwhelmed with happiness and immediately fell down like rods, offering dandavats. Then they slowly rose and pleased the Lord by offering him prayers. So they were praying initially to the Lord in the heart. Now the Lord has appeared directly before them. So they definitely feel, oh, the Lord has come. Our problems are over. He will do everything for us. Definitely the demigods will be thinking like that. They were thinking that, oh, we'll get him to kill the demon for us. He will do it. So they offer their prayers, and the demigods are very expert in glorifying the Lord. They offer feeling prayers. Here, this purport is very nice about text number 33. If you look at the purport there of text number 33, it describes, Prabhupada describes different ways how the devotees will realize the Lord. Different levels of devotees, transcendentalists, they will realize him in different ways. And it's mentioned here, he can be realized first of all in his impersonal form, then he's the Brahman, the Supreme Brahman. And then he's also realized as Paramatma. And when he's realized as Paramatma, he's the Antaryami. But then he also expands himself in different forms for material creation. And we have the three Purusha avatars, Shirodakashayi Vishnu, Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, Karanadakashayi Vishnu. The work of creation is done by these three forms of Lord Vishnu. So some people know him in these ways. In 10th canto Srimad Bhagavatam, the personified Vedas are offering prayers to Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. And we know at the 5,000 years ago, Lord Brahma was praying to Shirodakashayi Vishnu in Svetadvip. And Lord Krishna, when it happened, there was an incident in Dwarka that the Brahmana lost many of his children. And so Lord Krishna and Arjuna, they went to see Karanadakashayi Vishnu. Karanadakashayi Vishnu is Mahavishnu. And Mahavishnu is laying in the causal ocean in the abode of liberation. So, yeah, just keep on the table. Yeah, thank you very much. Very kind, thank you. So like there's 3 different forms of Vishnu, some people know like, and then there's also the Chaturvyuha, Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna and Aniruddha. And that's entering more into the spiritual world. The Chaturvyuha, they're above the 3 forms of Vishnu. And Prabhupada describes it in the form of the Chaturvyuha, you have Vaikuntha Narayan. But you can go higher still. Some people they're above Vaikuntha and they will come to Balarama, realization of Baladev. And then above Baladev there's also Krishna. So all of these different realizations are possible by devotional service. So we can know these different levels of realization. Prabhupada writes, the covered core of their heart is then completely open to receiving an understanding of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in His various forms. All right? Then text 34 describes how the Lord, that He appears to be engaged in material activities, but He's always transcendental. So His activities are very difficult to understand. And Prabhupada in the purport describes why it's so difficult to understand Lord Krishna. Because in one sense, it's that Lord Krishna is always situated in Goloka Vrindavan. He's always in his abode. Goloka eva nivasati akiladma bhuta. This is Brahma Samhita. The Lord is always in Goloka Vrindavan. And then He never goes away from Vrindavan. There's another verse also describing how the Lord never takes one foot outside Vrindavan. But Krishna is situated, so He's in His own abode, but at the same time, He's all-pervading. He's everywhere. He's therefore present everywhere. So it's very difficult. How do we understand Krishna? That He's present everywhere, at the same time He's in His abode? How to understand the Lord by these different ways, different things. At the end, Prabhupada said, according to Mayavadi philosophy, the Supreme Truth, being all-pervasive, does not need a transcendental form. That's a tendency which, when you cannot understand something, you come to Mayavadi philosophy. They will say like that, oh, the Lord has no form. So the Mayavadis, they say that since His form is distributed everywhere, He has no form. But Prabhupada writes, this is not true. The Lord keeps His transcendental form. At the same time, He extends everywhere, in every nook and corner of the material creation. How to understand? It is inconceivable potency, achintya. We know from the invocation of Ishopanishad, Om Purnamada Purnamidam. The personality of Godhead is perfect and complete. Even though so many complete units emanate from Him, still He remains a complete balance. So the Lord is everywhere, in everything, and at the same time He's in His abode. He has His own personal abode. So He's everywhere, in everything, in the form of Paramatma, by His expansion. The Paramatma is pervading everything. So everything can be explained if we understand properly. the principles of Krishna consciousness, and we learn about the different potencies of the Lord. So the demigods go on offering words of praise to the Lord. Okay, text number 39, there's another point we marked here. That non-devotees, because of their meager knowledge and speculative habits, cannot understand the real nature of the Lord. A devotee who has once tasted the nectar from the Lord's lotus feet can realize what transcendental pleasure there is in the Lord's devotional service. A devotee knows that simply by rendering service to the Lord, he serves everyone. This is a point which is sometimes difficult for people to understand, how by serving Lord Krishna, how by serving the Supreme Lord, we're actually serving everyone. Would anyone like to comment on that? How would you explain that to people? That by serving the Supreme Lord, we're actually serving everyone.
Is Maharaj, within Supreme Lord, everything is present. He is the source of everything. He is the Supreme Controller, the proprietor of everything. So, as per an analogy, if the water is poured into the root of the tree, the branches of the tree will flee nourished. Similarly, if the Lord is served, then everyone is served.
Yes, that's a nice example. The Lord is Mula Prakriti, right? He's the roots of the material nature. And He's in everyone's heart. When we satisfy Him, everyone will feel benefit. The whole world is benefited by Krishna consciousness movement. Okay, and then going ahead to 40, text number 40, talks about two kinds of devotees. You have the sakama and the niskama devotees, or akama, sakama and akama. Sometimes we say niskama. Sakama means devotees who have material desires. So the example, of course, here is the demigods. They have material desires. What is their desire? What desire do the demigods have?
Material enjoyment.
Huh?
Material enjoyment.
What particular enjoyment? What, in this particular instance, what is their desire? They've called the Lord, they brought the Lord here, but they have their desire. What do they want to get from the Lord?
They want that Lord should kill Vritrasura.
All right, they want the Lord to take care of their problem. They have this demon, Vritrasura, and they want the Lord to kill him. So Prabhupada said, pure devotees are without are akama, whereas devotees in the upper planetary system, such as the demigods, are called sakama, because they still want to enjoy material opulences. That's the danger. You go to the higher planets, there's a lot of opulence, and we get attached to material opulence. We don't like to give it up. It's very difficult to go down the way. So the demigods are attached. Sakama devotees, meaning devotees with material desire, achieve from the Lord the results they desire from their prayers. but they do not immediately become fit to return back to Godhead. That's the problem. They're worshipping the Lord, but they're not going to go back to Godhead because they're asking the Lord to fulfill their material desires. They're praying to the Lord, but they're praying to the Lord for their material benefit. So they won't get back to Godhead in this lifetime. They'll have to take birth again. So we don't want to be in that category. We want to be pure devotees. So I was saying, Rupa Goswami said, Anya Bilasita Sumyam. Going ahead, text 42, in the purport, the last section of the purport. Prabhupada writes, a pure devotee, however, knows that since the Lord is omnipresent and omniscient, there is no need to offer prayers or worship Him for one's personal benefit. You don't need to tell the Lord what you need. A pure devotee always engages in the service of the Lord without demanding anything. The Lord is present everywhere and follows the necessities of His devotees. Consequently, there is no need to disturb Him by asking Him for material benefits. We can give the example. Just like the woman may have a child. So the child may say, Mom, are you going to give me food today? Are you going to feed me? The mother will say, what do you mean? Of course I'll feed you. Every day I feed you. Why you ask like that? So the same way we're praying to the Lord. Oh Krishna, oh Narayan, do this for me. Oh Narayan, help me, help us. The Lord knows, the Lord takes care of His devotees. He knows everything. So the pure devotees, they won't ask anything from the Lord. They will only want to be engaged in the service of the Lord. And if anything happens, if he's in difficulties, then the pure devotee will think, this is my karma. This is the arrangement of the Lord. I should accept it, but I should go on with my service. Tatena kampam sushamik punjana evatma kritam. Right? A devotee, one who tolerates all adverse conditions, but goes on in engaging in devotional service, then he's qualified to become my unalloyed devotee. So the pure devotees will tolerate all difficulties. They won't trouble the Lord. They won't be saying, oh Krishna, oh you have to help me. Okay, text 43, beginning of the purport. One need only seek shelter of the shade of the Lord's lotus feet. Then all the material tribulations that disturb him will be subdued. Just as when one comes under the shadow of a tree, the disturbances caused by the heat of the scorching sun are immediately mitigated without one's asking for relief. Right? So, what is the problem? We've forgotten Krishna. If we remember Krishna, there is no problem. The conditioned soul suffering from material tribulations because of existing in this material world can be relieved only when he seeks shelter at the Lord's lotus feet. When we take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, then there's no problem. Then we accept everything, whatever happens, as the mercy of the Lord, to go on with devotional service. So like that devotee has to think, the demigods and the higher planets, they are sakama devotees. They're devotees, but they have material desires. Therefore they're praying to the Lord. Please help us. Please save us from this danger, O Lord. Then text 45. The demigods certainly, the purport of text 45, the demigods certainly wanted Lord Vishnu to relieve their anxiety. But now they directly approached Lord Krishna. They were praying to Lord Narayan, the Super Soul, but now they're offering prayers to Lord Krishna. And they're asking Lord Krishna that you please help us. They want Lord Krishna to... Why did they suddenly change to Lord Krishna? What do you think? What's the reason? Huh?
Krishna is complete, full, whole, because that the Narayan is the expansion of Krishna. So he the topmost realization of the Lord with all opulences. He is complete whole.
Yes, Krishna is the Supreme Lord, superior to even Narayan. And Krishna is also famous. His mission, Paritranaya Sadhunam Vinaschaya Chaduskritam. He's famous and he's very expert in killing the demons and protecting his devotees. He likes to do that. It said later on in the purport, Krishna is always famous for relieving his devotees from danger. So a devotee who sacrificed everything for the service of Krishna and whose only source of relief is the Lord is known as Akinchana. So Lord Krishna is being approached here. The demigods, they feel that maybe Lord Narayan is not so much inclined to kill the demons, but Lord Krishna, he's very expert. He's got the Sudarshan Chakra, and he's got his club. He can certainly kill this demon if he wants. So they're praying to Krishna to please help us in this way. So the Lord listened to the prayers, and he was pleased, and he replied to the Lord. He replies to the demigods. So text 47, the Lord is replying to the demigods, and the Lord is pleased. He sees the knowledge that they're certainly devotees. In the purport, Prabhupada talks about how the impersonalists don't have proper knowledge, that their knowledge is incomplete. And he talks about when they pray to the Lord, they will address the Lord as being nameless. They always offer prayers indirectly. They will say, you are this, you are that, but they do not know to whom they are praying. A devotee, however, always offers personal prayers. A devotee says, Govinda Madhipursham Tamaham Bhajam. This is the way to offer prayers. If one continues to offer prayers to the Lord, personal prayers, then he is eligible to become a pure devotee and return home back to Godhead. All right, so text 48, we hear the Lord is revealing a little bit. He's not so happy with the demigods because they have not they have not approached him for pure devotional service. And he says in text 48, 49 or 48, he said, I am pleased with a pure devotee whose mind is conclusively fixed on me, does not ask me for anything but the opportunity to engage in devotional service. And then in the purport, Prabhupada says, the Lord wanted the demigods to pray for unalloyed devotional service, but instead they prayed for an opportunity to kill their enemy. This is the difference between a pure devotee and a devotee in the material platform. Indirectly, the Lord regretted that the demigods did not ask for pure devotional service. Then in the next purport, 49, Prabhupada explains, if one sincerely prays to God for material possessions in exchange for devotional service, the Lord, who is not foolish like such an unintelligent devotee, he will show him special favor by taking away whatever material possessions he has and gradually giving him the intelligence to be satisfied only by rendering service to his lotus feet. So Krishna says, and Prabhupada also had that realization, and said, Krishna said, when I'm very merciful to someone, I take it away from them. So Prabhupada is making that point. Just like if the child is asking the mother, give me poison, the mother is not going to give poison to the child. The same way the demigods are asking for material comforts, material benediction. The Lord is not very happy, He's not very pleased with this kind of prayer. Anyway, this is what happens, this is going on. So, it mentioned then, all these kind of benedictions, they're just due to lust. And these benedictions will be finished. Whatever you ask for, you want the benediction, you want money, you want the nice wife, you want the home, you want the good job, you want the career. It's all temporary. It's all going to be finished with the body. And so if you approach the Lord to get these kind of benedictions, then it's not going to help you to go back home, back to Godhead. We have to understand the temporary nature of the material world. And just to finish off here, a non-Vaishnava, one who is not engaged in the service of the Lord, is considered a fool with a small quantity of brain substance. So this is what the situation of the demigods. Anyway, the Lord, He understands their nature, they have a problem. And so you see text 51, He tells them what to do. You go to Dadichi and ask him for the bones. Ask him to give his body without delay. Dadichi's done a lot of austerity, and he's a great soul, and if you go there and ask him for his bones, I think he'll give you them. And then you can use his bones, and you can make a weapon. And they said, because of this Narayana Kavacha, Dadichi's body is very strong. So you should beg him for his body. And with the bones from his body, then you can make a weapon which will kill this demon. It will certainly kill the demon. Huh? And when Vritasura is killed, because of my spiritual strength, you will again regain your strength, your weapons, and your wealth. Vritasura can destroy all the three worlds. Do not fear that he will harm you. He is also a devotee and will never be envious of you. So the Lord gives a hint here in this final verse of this chapter, that this demon Vritasura is actually a devotee. Alright? So we have to stop here. Is there any questions anybody wants to ask?
Yes, Maharaj, I have a couple of questions. That is, Vasudev is the son of Vasudeva and Devaki in Mathura, and Lord Krishna is of Gola Vrindavan. So in Brahma's prayer it is stated that Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadi Adi Govindam Sarva Karanam Karanam. Means Krishna is the cause of all causes. Also here, what we studied now, Vasudeva is also called cause of all causes. Which one appears to be appropriate?
Well, Vasudeva is Lord Krishna. It's another name for the super soul, right? Vasudev Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlaha. There's Vasudeva and Vasudev, right? Vasudev, the son of Vasudeva, Lord Krishna.
So Maharaj, both the understandings are correct. Cause of all causes, Krishna, Vasudeva. So why sometimes Vasudeva is called also the impersonal conception?
Huh?
Sometimes Vasudeva is called in Bhagavatam impersonal conception of the Lord. Sarva Vyapak, he pervades everywhere. Why it is so?
Well, because as a super soul is all pervading.
So Maharaj, he can't be cause of all causes. Krishna can be cause of all causes.
Yes. He's the expansion of Krishna.
But it is differently stated that Vasudeva is the cause of all causes, Krishna is the cause of all causes.
No. Well, there's no real difference. Just like Vishnu and Krishna, there's no real difference. So Vasudeva and Krishna, there's no real difference.
Okay, Maharaj. So another question is, what is the purpose, meaning of Chaturvyu expansion? Because Lord expands, first expansion is Balaram, then expands Narayan into Vaikuntha planet, then for creation of this world, Vishnu incarnations, Garbhodok, Khirodok, and Khirodok Vishnu, Mahavishnu, Garbhodok and Khirodok Vishnu. But what is the meaning exactly? What is the meaning of Chaturvyu expansion? Vasudeva Sankarsana, Pradyumna Aniruddha.
Well, there are 4 expansions which exist in the spiritual world, and they do different functions. Just like one is in charge of false ego, one is in charge of the mind, one is in charge of... it's all mentioned in Kapila Shiksha. You must have studied it when you studied Kapila Shiksha in the 3rd canto. The different Vasudeva, Sankarsana, Aniruddha and Pradyumna. They're in charge of different elements of the material nature. I'd have to refer to the Kapila Shiksha again to see exactly what they're all doing. But they have functions. They're all expansions of Lord Krishna in the Vaikuntha.
Maharaj, Krishna expanded as Narayan into Vaikuntha planet. Was it necessary to expand in these 4? In this quadruple expansion again?
Yeah, because they all do different functions.
Yes, Maharaj.
One's in charge of the mind, one's in charge of intelligence, one is in, you've got Sankarshan's in charge of false ego.
As far as the last question is that, the scene, Indra could distribute the scenes over earth, trees, women. So anyone who on scenes can distribute others, like devotees.
I'm not following you. What are you talking about? Say again.
Indra distributed all his scenes over trees, earth, and women.
Yeah.
Yeah. Similarly, a devotee, what scene he owns can distribute others.
A devotee can distribute sins to others?
Yeah.
No. Devotee doesn't do that. A devotee will suffer the sins himself. A devotee thinks, I am sinful and fallen, I should suffer. A devotee, we will take the sins. Vasudeva Datta great devotee of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he prayed to Lord Chaitanya, let me take the sins of all the people, I will stay here and suffer. That is the devotee, that is pure devotee. Lord Chaitanya was so pleased. We are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. We don't give sins to others, we will take sins from others.
Yes, Maharaj, thank you very much. Yes.
Okay, any other questions? Getting a bit late. Okay, anyway, thank you very much. So we'll meet next week and we'll continue. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat and we can see them next week when we come, next Saturday. Okay? Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki.